There's something in psychology known as the mere exposure effect. Basically, this means that when you become familiar with something, the more you use it, the more you tend to prefer it over other things. Now, in gaming, we call this having a main. This means that you stop playing the game for what it is, but instead you start playing your own version of it, just by always picking the same character over and over. And we've seen this work in a variety of scenarios, right? There's people at the highest ranks always one-tricking a certain champion ever since they started the game. People will pick a champion because it feels good, because they look cool, because it resembles a certain character. Maybe they relate to it in a certain way, but regardless, the more they play it, the more comfortable they get with using certain abilities, doing certain things, and in general it's also a really good way to get better at the game. It is factually shown that one tricks will perform way better and climb way faster than someone that's consistently switching between characters. I for one struggled a lot with picking a main, and I have never picked a main in a single ranked game I've ever played. I have really bad ADHD when it comes to these things, and I just want to try different characters. But I've seen friends who have stuck with one character and they climbed really fast. This is because you don't really need to constantly be learning a new character and their nuances, because you just get really good with a specific character and can actually start playing the game, learning the game and learning its mechanics. There's also guides on YouTube, etc. that will help you speed up this process of learning a character, but that being said, nothing will replace the fact that you need to build your own muscle memory. There's certain things that are just unique to you and you can't inherit from watching thousands of hours of guides. But as you start to one-trick a character, the other characters will naturally feel a lot more distant, a lot more different. And when a character starts to feel different, when you switch, for example, from someone like Genji on Overwatch to someone like Mei, two characters which are completely contrasting each other, right? You will start to notice that you will try to apply the muscle memory you had from Genji onto Mei, and it will just not merge. Like, for example, trying to fit a triangle into a circle hole. You will just start the game over as if you never played it, right? There are still certain things that will carry over, game sense being one of them. Game sense is just something that comes from playing a specific game and knowing exactly what's going on. But that being said, nothing will carry over from having those unique skills applied to a certain character and trying to apply them to a new character. Now, this is my issue with maining a character. When I did main a character for a period of time, Vladimir from League of Legends, I got really good with Vladimir. When I say really good, I'm not talking masters, but I did climb out of the rank I was stuck in for a long time. Even now, if I go to play Vladimir after years of not playing him, I can still more or less feel the muscle memory coming back. I still know more or less the damage values that will come out of certain items. Now, don't get me wrong, maining a character isn't a bad thing. If you main a character, it is statistically proven you will climb way faster. Someone that consistently changes characters will not be able to grow a certain amount of muscle memory on a specific champion, and also will not be able to actually start learning the game. What do I mean by that? Of course, before you start learning the game itself, you need to know what your character does and what it doesn't do. For example, when I started maining Vladimir, at first it was a learning experience and it took quite a while, but I actually started getting used to his damage, his limitations, the things he can and can't do during a specific wave, and after getting used to everything he can do, I started to naturally learn the game and its mechanics. The less time you're actually focused on trying to understand exactly what's going on with a character's abilities, the more time you can actually focus on learning what's going on around you. And this is true for all multiplayer games, right? There's, for example, different projectile types. With Genji, you're throwing shurikens that take time to travel, where with Widowmaker, your bullets will hit instantly the second you click. Also, with skill shots with League of Legends, you have something like an Ezreal Q, which takes time to travel, and you have something like a Vladimir Q, which is instant. But there are also mechanics that will carry over, such as game sense and game knowledge. Now, when I talk about learning a specific main, the issue is that when you spend a lot of time learning a specific character, these things will not carry over. Let's take, for example, Vladimir, and let's take, for example, someone like Nami. Now, Vladimir, you're expected to be weaving attacks between enemies, running around between everyone, dodging everything, and trying to make sure you get the valuable targets out of the way. Now, Nami, and her character cannot handle herself if she is surrounded by enemies. So naturally, if you try to do the same thing Vladimir does and jump into a pack of enemies, you will, for sure, explode. There is no doubt about it. Anything I learned on Vladimir will not transfer. Now, let's consider for example Vladimir with another mid lane champ. Yes, there are some things that will transfer, such as mid lane knowledge, but that's just because it's game knowledge. I will know more or less how to handle myself in the mid lane, how to handle certain wards, but that's pretty much it. Vladimir will handle being ganked differently than someone like Akali. That's my issue with having a main. When you have a main, you tend to almost ignore the other character's capabilities. You will know what other characters do, you will learn all their abilities, but that's pretty much it. You don't know more or less how much their cooldowns take, you don't know more or less how long their projectiles take to hit you, and you also don't know certain nuances when it comes to their itemization and which power spikes will trigger them. This will of course naturally limit you from being able to pick another champion if your character cannot be picked. If someone randomly hates Vladimir, they will ban the champion and you're just standing there wondering what to do. Some of us here are lucky enough that when they play League of Legends, they see this magical champion appear in front of them and they're like, oh my god, I want to play this guy till I literally don't have fingers anymore. Some people have been maining the same goddamn champion from the release of the game and they have never gotten bored. That's insane to me. I am completely different. I am the type of person that today I will play Akali, tomorrow I will get beaten by someone playing Set, and I think, ooh, maybe playing Set doesn't sound that bad and maybe I'll play Set. A lot of people, especially in my lower ranks, cannot sit down and say, today I'm going to just stick to mid, and they stick to mid forever. Everyone has their own limits on how long they can play something before it gets bored. And trust me, there's a lot of videos on YouTube. This is your next main, how to pick your main. Oh yes, I like Rengar, I will play Rengar because he is a little kitty on little bush and he jump, meow. But that being said, a channel will not be able to tell you which champion you want to main. At the end of the day, it comes to you, your psychology, and how much you're willing to actually sit down and play a specific champion. This has happened to me with a lot of champions in League of Legends, because all of them are so cool. And you start to see these clips on YouTube of people doing crazy shit with Pyke, and you're like, oh my god, maybe I want to buy all 7 skins for Pyke and play him till I die, and then you drop him in a day. But, that being said, not having a main also has its perks. When I play Viego, a champion that can literally kill anyone and take over their body, I don't really struggle that much, because when I kill a champion there's a good chance I've already played them for a bit. So I already know their abilities, how long they'll take, any combo specific to the champion. There's a lot of muscle memory built up that will just trigger the second you take over a champion. I can more or less grasp them really quick. Of course this doesn't really help when the game is centered around you picking a champion and sitting it out for the entire match, but that is how I find the game to be fun. And don't get me wrong, this is no source of judgment. If you're the type of person that has 1 million points in Jinx, I really admire you. It is something that I wish I could do, but I physically can't. And I'm sure that if a one trick comes and I 1v1 them, they will beat my ass to a pulp. But that being said, I don't want people to feel guilty because they can't main a champion. Some people will struggle with it, some people won't, but at the end of the day, if you don't find a champion that you can consistently pick and enjoy, there's no issue with it. There's also the practice of picking a multiple champions, and that way you have a solid rotation, everything feels more or less fresh, and sure, the muscle memory will take longer to develop, but it will still develop just on a multitude of characters. What I want to mean is that everyone has their different process of how to make the game feel fresh and fun. Some people, they sit with a champion and they play it forever. Other people will switch champions and they play the game forever. It's possible to switch lanes and still be good at them. So, to wrap it all up, basically what I want to mean is, if you can main a champion, that's great, that's fun. I personally always felt pressure to main a champion because I wanted to climb, but I never actually managed to find a champion that I enjoy playing for consistent periods of time. And if you're the type of person like me that can sit down and pick one character in one game and play them for the rest of your life, that's okay too. There's no guilt in it, you shouldn't feel bad about it, and it's just you enjoying the game. Remember, The game is there to have fun. Climbing ranked isn't the only way to have fun. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you took something out of it at least. I'm trying to learn a bit more how to edit and how to pace my videos. Leave your comments and thoughts below, and if you want, maybe pop a subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot.